Lauren is the Business Strategist AI at Google, and she will explore the transformative power of AI technologies in tackling some of the world's most pressing challenges. Drawing on a wealth of experience in deploying AI solutions for social impact, she will highlight how AI can be harnessed to foster inclusivity, enhance sustainability, and promote health and well-being on a global scale. Let's welcome Lauren, AI for the Greater Good.
Congratulations. You made it to the end of the day. This is a shocking amount of people to be at the end of the day. So I feel honored. I'm truly grateful. Thank you for sitting. And thank you for what you did for yourselves today. You made an investment, not in just for today, but in your future. And that's pretty incredible to spend an entire day here. And so, let's give yourselves kudos. Treat yourself with a little ice cream. And then let's take a minute to think beyond ourselves, how we really feel like AI is being enabled to help the greater good, to help society, to really think about these big issues and how we're going to be able to tackle them. Earlier, we heard Gopi introduce the day, talking about these transformational technologies that have existed, come about every 100 years or so. And with each one of them, there was also the same amount of fear and insecurity that we see now. So back in the 1500s, when we had the invention of the printing press, everyone thought, what about all the scribes? They're going to lose their jobs. And then what about the information that's going to be shared? Because remember, the church shared all the information before. The church, right? And then in 1752, even Benjamin Franklin had a hard time convincing people that electricity would be good. They thought it was unnatural. They thought that people were going to get shocked and electrocuted. And now we can't fathom living our days without electricity. And then there was the automobile. In the 1800s, you used to have to drive a car that had a horse preceding it with a flag that was waving because the breakneck speed of 20 miles per hour was dangerous. But how many of you drove here today with a car that you actually don't even have to touch the steering wheel, right? All of these things, they exist and they create fear because there's just unknown. We don't know what it is going to look like. We don't know how it's going to change our lives. And so in reality, the exciting part about technology is the unknown, and that's what we see with AI. We're in this space. There is no book written. We don't know what it's going to look like yet because we're living it right now. And at Google, we've always believed that AI is going to be wildly important because it's going to help us achieve our #1 mission, which is to organize the world's information and make it universally accessible and useful. As we built AI, we started to develop AI principles to go along with that. And our #1 principle, and I'm really proud of this principle, is to say that we are building things that are socially beneficial. If we have 15 surfaces that have 500 million users, we think about how we make each one of them helpful and useful to those humans. And so we started to think, what are some of the ways in which we can make all of our tools easier, better, amplify the versions of life? Maps. We've talked a lot about maps, but by making maps that demonstrate the most fuel efficient way to get somewhere, we take into account AI and leverage how far something is, what is the incline, what type of car do you drive, and ultimately can deliver back the most fuel efficient route, not only time-based. In the first year that we launched this, it was estimated that it saved 500 million, I'm trying to put the right number, metric tons of carbon emissions, which is the equivalent of taking 100,000 cars off the road, just by implementing a little bit of technology. Or we have this tool, which helps manufacturers and brands understand how they're sourcing their materials. They can upload the data and the information of their fiber portfolio and get recommendations for how they can have less impact on climate and environmental procedures. For example, by choosing organic cotton, you can save 46% of carbon emissions. Might cost a little more, but it might do good. Or food waste. I don't know about you, but I hate wasting food. I know that 1 billion people go to sleep hungry every night, and yet there's food, high quality food sitting in my refrigerator that might not be eaten. So Hellmann's, the maker of mayonnaise, paired with Google Cloud to build an AI app that used vision to take a picture of your refrigerator, and then it would go and recommend recipes in which you could utilize the food product that you had left in your refrigerator, make sure you were utilizing everything you'd already bought. And of course, every recipe included Hellmann's mayonnaise, right? So these are all little things. What if your day got 10% faster, you saved money on 10% of your food, you got 10% less carbon emissions? Those are big impacts when we think about billions of people. But at Google, we like to think about, instead of 10%, how do we move to 10x? How do we solve large societal problems? What are the things that are previously considered impossible? And how do we impact those with AI? One example that I have from you is forecasting floods and inclement weather. The United Nations released a report, and they said that half of the world's population does not have adequate systems to let them know if adequate weather like flood and fires is coming. And we probably all know that with climate, these are happening more and more often. And so we thought we needed to make a life-changing technology that could help identify and alert humans when something was happening. And where they started was the Ganges River, which I was lucky enough to visit last year. We talked about this when I went to Rishikesh. And I understand it is beautiful and it is holy and it's powerful. And 20% of the world's humans that are impacted negatively by flooding live in India. So it was the perfect place to start, to identify that if we could build a predictive model using historical, spatial planning, and weather, working with local governments, could we provide more anticipated alerts to these communities? And yes, we could. I'm going to show you a quick video.
हमारा खेत था तो जाते थे, दोस्तों के साथ खेलते थे और वहाँ पे सारा मजा आता था। फिर नदी आ गई तो काट लिया।
घाघरा नदी सारे काट लिया। गांव को कोई सूचना मिलती ही नहीं है। अगर कोई सूचना मिलती तो हम लोग को मदद मिलते, कोई मदद नहीं है हमारे लोगों को।
Aid agencies are struggling to get help to millions of people affected by devastating floods across South Asia. It's thought to be the worst monsoon.
Thousands of troops have already been pressed into action, and more
It was extremely frightening because we had no warning. The highest rainfall but this year it has been exceptional.
One of the most important variables during a crisis is reliable information. There's so much work that's already been done by governments, by the UN and NGOs, and we're trying to learn from that work, build on that, and assist them with their goals. In India, where we're running our first pilot program, the government has thousands of people who are measuring the water level in rivers across India with what is effectively very long measuring sticks, which are called stream gauges, every hour, which allows them to know whether the river will overflow and flood. But it doesn't yet allow them to understand exactly what areas are going to be affected, what neighborhoods, or even what villages.
Any station calling? Any station?
चेतावनी में तहसील से साहब मिलती है, अधिकारी जो हमारे होते हैं कर्मचारी, वो हमें सभी सतर्क कर देते हैं कि बाढ़ आने वाली, आप लोग ऊंचे आ जाइए। नहीं, नुकसान सब उससे पहले पता चल जाएगा।
The response time is most crucial thing. Reducing the response time always plays very important and vital role in the whole disaster management framework. Advancement in technology would help us better in spreading this message faster.
flood forecasting was a very exploratory project. The big technical question was, can we have enough information to try to do forecasting that would be accurate enough to make a difference? Starting with the basic needs for getting information about what's going on, where is it happening, what should I be doing?
To be able to provide a forecast in real time, we rely on the government we're working with. We complement their effort by adding accurate modeling to that process. We start by collecting thousands of satellite images to build a digital model of the terrain. Based on these maps, we generate hundreds of thousands of simulations of how the river could possibly behave. We receive the measurements from the government and cross those measurements with our simulations. We can then send those forecasts to individuals using search, maps, and Android notifications. This is an example of an alert that we can produce. This alert is for Patna. This alert has over 90% accuracy. The lead time is incredibly important, even more than the specifics.
Any information we can give, they will use.
You want to show them the alert? Talking to people who directly experience severe floods and understanding what they really need is incredibly important for us to know how we can really help.
This is an opportunity to collaborate in a global scale. We are in very exciting time to use technology to try to make a difference. I can't imagine a greater privilege than to do what we love and do it in a way that could actually help people directly in a very profound way.
Our hope for the future is to give people a few more days of warning before a flood occurs, and to use AI to scale this and provide these forecasts anywhere in the world, wherever people need them.
What we've done here is now created the opportunity to identify where floods are potentially going to be happening up to 7 days in advance. And then we push notifications through search, through maps, and through Android alerts so that people have access and are alerted. That not only saves lives, it allows governments to help you prepare, and ultimately keeps hundreds of millions of people safer. Now, my background is in healthcare, and so I love the example of protein folding, right? Proteins are incredible. They're the building blocks of life. Literally every single living thing, from this grass outside to the cells inside of our brain, are built of proteins. And proteins start as these long amino acid chains, and then they fold onto each other. And when we understand how the protein folds into a 3D structure, we understand how it works, and sometimes how it breaks, like in disease. And so in biology, understanding how proteins map and how they fold has been this incredible endeavor that we've been trying to do for 50 years. And over 50 years, we mapped about 100,000 proteins. But guess how many there are? You're nodding your head. Do you know? No. 200 million. 200 million. And it used to take one PhD student 5 years to map one protein. So we got to about 100,000. Then AlphaFold came from our group at Google called DeepMind. And they used those 100,000 to feed a model to predict the next, guess how many? 200 million. So in the past 4 years, we have now predicted 200 million proteins. What's incredible about that is when you know how a protein works, you can see how diseases progress, and you can find drugs that help alleviate illness. We've given this away for free. It's a free platform that medical researchers, you guys, can get on and utilize, which means we're democratizing the ability for humans throughout the world to help save lives. And then the most important is communication, because we're all humans. And so one thing that we wanted to really take a look at is helping people connect and communicate. And non-standard speech is a big part of that. So I have a video here, and you guys can all check it out online, but this is of Aubrey Lee. She works at Google. Her job is a namer, right? Cool. I hope she named Gemini, because I think it's our best product name that we have yet. But she has muscular dystrophy, and it's very hard for her to communicate. So Google built this app that's called Relate, where she feeds in, she reads, and the model learns how she speaks specific words. It understands by tying her pronunciation to a word, and then enables her to communicate with far more people. She can go to a coffee shop and say what she wants to order, and the app then delivers it in a more mechanical voice that anybody can understand. So Aubrey's life is enabled. Millions of people's lives are enabled because she's able to connect now with people around the world, kind of like Google Translate. It's amplifying our ability to be human, to be connected, to be bold.
Communication is a fundamental human need, and I think it's also a basic human right. I'm Aubrey Lee, a brand manager at Google. More specifically, I'm a namer, and it's a lot of fun to say that I'm a professional namer. I had a type of muscular dystrophy that affects the way I speak. I have always loved making new friends, but when people can't understand me at first, they have trouble getting to know me. It's as if there's an invisible barrier between us. I believe technology can help bring down that barrier.
My name is Julie Catio. I'm a product manager at Google in the research team. Project Relate started in 2018 when we realized that our speech recognition technology could be improved to help people with speech impairments be better understood. Standard speech recognition doesn't always work as well for people with atypical speech because the algorithms have not been trained on samples of their speech. So we decided to create an app that would be custom trained on individuals' unique speech patterns.
We named the app Relate because of what it enables you to do.
To use the app, the first step is to record a set of phrases so it can get to know how you speak. The Relate app has 3 built-in features: Listen, Repeat, and Assistant. Listen transcribes everything you're saying in real time.
So I have a custom voice model now. And
Repeat repeats what you've just said in a clear computerized voice.
next thing I do, hot chocolate.
Hot chocolate.
Ah, gotcha.
Thank you.
Assistant connects directly with your Google Assistant.
Take a selfie.
Okay, get ready.
I hope I live to see the day when disabled people can move through the world and accept the same level of connection as everyone else has. I think Project Relate is bringing us closer to a better future.
And so I go back to the very beginning where there was all this fear. We talked about fear. It's always going to happen because fear exists in change. We don't know what we can't see yet. And so for everyone here, I'm in awe of you dedicating your time and your lives to the AI opportunity. I'm humbled to be a part of it every day. And so I'll just say to you, go and build and do good. We can. Thank you.